I'm just going to demonstrate how to use masking fluid very quickly in a sketchbook. So I've done these drawings. I did these drawings at the weekend just from some reference photos, some calendula daisies, these will be orange, and a cornflower. And I'm going to work from these and make a sort of little meadow scene in my sketchbook. And in order to paint the background, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask out using this Jackson's masking fluid in blue. I'm going to cover them, all the daisies up and the cornflower with the masking fluid, and then I can paint right over the top of it. So what I tend to do is I normally have some separate brushes that I use for masking fluid, and I put a little bit of tape on the bottom of them so I know they're just for masking fluid. And to protect the brush from the masking fluid, because it can be a bit gummy, I wipe the brush over a lip salve. You can use bar soap or any other sort of soap. I really like this masking fluid because it goes on quite thinly and it's blue so that you can see where you've applied it. So let's start by doing the top flower first. We're going to work from the bottom down so that we're not going to smudge anything we've painted. Okay, so now we're going to do the wash. We're going to wet this whole paper with a slightly bigger brush. I'm using this Daler Rowney sort of Chinese style brush. Really like these. This is a number 1. And I'm going to put a wash down so it's like the background of the meadow. But because these flowers are eventually going to be coloured, calendula are orange and cornflowers are blue, I'm going to keep it fairly light, this background, so that when the flowers eventually are painted in, they kind of pop. Right, so I'm going to take my light cadmium light, cadmium lemon, and we're going to go in with that first of all. Oh, it's bold. I'm leaving some of the top alone because I want to give the feeling that we're graduating up to sky. So I would think it's going to be darker at the bottom, leading to mid-tone colours, light at the top. So now, what did I say? Hooker's green, I said, didn't I? So we'll go in with a bit of Hooker's green, oh, which is quite bright, yeah. Yep, and actually I'm going to pop a bit of yellow ochre. Let's drop it in. Okay, so we don't really want to go very much darker than this. I might just add a tiny touch of French ultramarine at the bottom, just to give a little bit of contrast, but I don't want to take that colour up too far. So when your watercolours dry, you're going to need to then remove the masking fluid, and you can do this easily just by giving it a gentle rub with your finger, or you can use an eraser to do the same thing. So for the details in the painting, I'm going to be using these brushes. They're all rounds, they're all sables, and they're at number 8, 6 and 1. but you can use whichever brushes you feel happy painting with, but it does help if you've got one that can give you a nice fine point at the end. Okay, so I'm going to start with the cornflower first, and I'm going to mix up some of this cerulean blue with a little of the cobalt blue, which is there. I'm going to clean my brush so that it's just got water on it, and I'm going to wet the petals of the cornflower. And then I'm just going to get my mixture, my paint, mix of cobalt blue and cerulean blue, and I'm just going to drop it into the centre here and let it spread. And then also cornflowers, they have some purple in them, some sort of purpley blue, I would say. So I'm going to mix a bit of purple with a bit of the cobalt blue and then just drop that in as well. Okay. Now I'm going to get my number 1 brush, my smaller brush, and I'm just going to use it to spread this paint around. This is burnt umber. Going to just drop that in to the centre of these flowers. I think maybe that needs to be a bit darker. So put some black into it as well. A little tiny bit. That's better. So a bit of contrast. And then carry on with the centres of the other flowers. Now for the stems, I'm going to use a bit of viridian green, which is a sort of bluey green. If you don't have it, don't worry, just mix some blue with the green that you do have and you'll get a similar colour. Okay, and we're going to pop the stems in now using tip of our brush. Add these as a sort of turquoisey blue, these flowers at the bottom. detail on the tops of these flowers. And also in the centres of these. I'm going to mix up a nice dark green. And I'm adding a little bit of a dark tone to this one side, to the left side of the stems, to give it a bit of shading. So the light's coming from this direction. Okay, and maybe just a bit of splatter as well. To give the painting a little bit of energy and movement. This is brown.